Is this all staying in, or is this post-production?
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll read the guidelines on that before we post it.
This is all opinion. It's not fact.
Yeah, true. We don't know that for sure, but...
No, we don't. Ben Currie, welcome back to the show. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, likewise, Dave. I know we caught up at the show briefly this weekend. Unfortunately, we didn't get together and have a natter because Glenn Irwin's still trying to finish his interview with you at the back of the Ducati still.
He had to bugger off and watch the MotoGP race.
I was in the queue.
In the queue. Oh,
God.
It was a busy day, mate. It was a busy day, but I think we did quite well for Ducati that day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
with yourself, I think we got yourself. Sorry, we missed out on yourself, but we got Rory, Glenn, and Leon undone on the Ducati stand. So we didn't do too
cool
bad.
To see the new Ducati lineup actually, like with Rory and is it Eduardo? Is that how you say his name?
Eduardo Colombia on the Supersport bike.
Ducati's got a lineup. Like, I think it's going to be a very promising year for the manufacturer for sure. Glenn and Leon sort of spearheading that in the superbike class, and I think Rory will be nipping at their heels in no time when he gets comfortable on the V4. So yeah, it's exciting to see that for sure.
It's good stuff. And what about you? Do you get a new V2 for next year, or do you run the same one, or what's the crack with Moto Rapido for you for next year?
Yeah, so it's the same bike essentially for us. I know there's a new V2 model that's been released, but it's not ready for racing yet. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there's still development going into the race bike, because obviously that will be the new the V2. It'll be based off that. It's a little bit like the scenario we've got with the V4S that's been just released. It won't be raced until 2026. So yeah, I mean the new V2 essentially is based off the V4 technology. It looks incredible, like, double-sided swinging arm. All the cool little modern features in the electronics that they've released as well. It's essentially based off MotoGP technology. And I know, like, manufacturers can sort of put on the old on the wrapping paper, oh yeah, electronics based off MotoGP, but it actually is, like, it genuinely is, and transformed into road. Like, it is amazing. And from all accounts, the feedback from the test rides and stuff like that from people that are they're already buying them, aren't they? So is that it's just completely unrivaled to any other manufacturer. So God help all the other manufacturers in the racing world, because if they get any better, it's going to be trouble, isn't it? Really, let's be honest.
But they just keep pushing. This absolutely isn't. It's not a Ducati advert. But you speak to Leon, you speak to Rory, you speak to yourself, you speak to Glenn, you speak to Frank and Jordan, as we did last week up at Frank Raffles' place up at Garstang, and the proof of the pudding's there. Second and third in the World Superbike Championship, one World Supersport. They're locking out MotoGP. They were at the sharp end of British Supersport and British Superbike. So you can't take anything away from the manufacturer. I say it's not an advert. They're selling themselves.
Yeah, well, this is it. I think the manufacturer is very much, it's essentially, it's like everything's built off the racing. So racing's number one thing in mind. It's not how many bikes can we sell. It's how fast can we make a motorbike and then make it legal for the road. So
it's 100% that. Yeah.
So other manufacturers, obviously, it's the other way around. It's like, how can we sell more motorbikes and be more appealing to the masses, and then we'll race the bike as well. And that's why we've seen, I think, so much success with Ducati, because you buy those bikes and it's way too much. It's a lot of bike for the road, but an absolute weapon that must have limited numbers, all those sorts of things. It's like, it makes it quite a special thing.
Absolutely, it does. It'd be interesting to see how that develops with the two new bikes for 2026, both for Supersport and for Superbike. But tell me about your season, mate. Defending the British Supersport Championship that you won in 23. Season didn't quite go to plan. Jack was strong, Luke was strong, you were strong, but the season just didn't end out the way that you'd have hoped.
No, and Dave, honestly, like I've turned that page now, and obviously we're here doing the interview, and for the sake of the interview, we'll talk about it. But I'm not going to say no comment. You're probably thinking, "Wait, where's he
thanks,
going
mate.
with this?" You're thinking, "What? Wait, what?"
I'd have moved on for you.
Yeah,
we haven't even rehearsed
on.
this. We've got no notes or anything. We've just come straight into this off the bat. So let's close it. Let's close the door on it one last time.
Let's close it officially. But yeah, it just didn't get going the whole season from start to finish, really. I could bore you like race by race, like all the crazy things that were happening in the quiet, but it was a testament to myself and the team, the way actually we dealt with all them things. And I honestly thought, I was like, I should not be, like, at points when I was leading the championship, I'm like, I should not be here. Like, this is crazy. And it gave me like that sort of sense that I was like, I will win this title again, because when I get going, like, it's going to be like I'm going to get on my run again. The run never come, but I've done it many times in my career where all of a sudden I go on a run, a form, and I was waiting for it as such. But like, you roll the clock back to Navarra, massive crash at turn 1, destroyed a bike, hurt myself a little bit, knocked myself around, and sort of damage limitation weekend where we got a second and a gifted first place. And we go away there, thinking, that was lucky. You know what I mean? Well, actually, I've even forgot what happened at Navarra. It's I got punted off the track, and then I received the long lap penalty for some strange reason.
Yeah.
Didn't see it for one thing or another. And people say that I've just ignored Stuart. I didn't see it because I wasn't expecting to have a penalty. So when you're not expecting a penalty, you're looking at other information. So anyway, straight away we're on the back foot, like by like 17 points because of that incident. And we managed to get it all the way back. Took a win at Alton Park, and I thought, right, here we go. Now we're getting there now. New chassis, new improvements of the bike. I had to get our head around it one, a little bit, step by step. Just staying relaxed, and then Knock Hill comes, and I'm super fast at Knock Hill, which I wasn't last year. I thought, yeah, this is good. Like, I'm fast at a track that I shouldn't be. And then I fall out my caravan, and literally my ankle, like, it was that loud, the snap, that I thought it's broken. Like, I broke my ankle. And I was just laying in the rain, because if you remember, it was torrential rain that weekend. And I was just laying in the rain thinking my season's over. Like, I can't believe it. I was distraught. And I managed to like crawl back into the caravan, like regather my thoughts. And then the missus ended up taking me to, once she realized I was MIA, she took us to the hospital, and we had to get checks because there was a lump on the side of my ankle that was just literally 90 degrees outside my ankle. And I thought, like, I don't know what that is. I'm not a doctor, and I'm thinking that can't be right. But yeah, it was just an ankle sprain that hindered me for a while, actually. Like, it just wouldn't go away. It's one of them ones. Ligament damage is horrible. And then, we sort of went through World Championship. Guys came to Donington, those sorts of things. We were like the top British rider right behind the World Championship guys. That was good. Wasn't a win, but it felt like one. All them sorts of things. And then business end of the season, business end of the season, Thruxton, Cadwell, we lose the boss. We lose the crew chief. I mean, he nearly lost his life. Like, it was
absolutely.
It was very bad. We had a test scheduled.
Sorry, mate. If I may just interject there, I had a good chat with Wilf at the show, and he looks in great health. He's still got a long way to go, but it's great considering everything that went on. It's great to see him looking as well as he does. So sorry to interrupt, mate. I just wanted to pop that in there at that point.
100%. And with his fighting spirit, he came back at Cadwell. I mean, it was not even at half strength. No way. He was struggling. And it was tough. Like, so for context for people, like, Wilf's crew chiefing both motorbikes. He's not just the team owner, he's the crew chief. He is like the glue in the team. He's the number one driving force. Without him, essentially, it all just sort of stops. Like, yeah, everyone's got their jobs and they just carry on doing their jobs as normal. But we've got a unique situation as it is that we share the crew chief. Me and Christian shared our crew chief all the time, which, posed its own challenges at times with, timings and Wilf just having a lot on his mind. And yeah, so postman just came in. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, just having a lot on his mind, and to lose him for 2 rounds essentially was just like massive hole. Mick from K-Tech stepped up, and we had good chassis engineers and stuff like that we could still count on, but we were just missing a bit. And we went to Cadwell, and our second lap off the pace, like I did the double there last year, and I'm just like struggle street. And then we worked hard all that weekend because we didn't get to do our test there that we would scheduled, because that was right when Wilf sort of went down, and the other boys tested there, so they were proper on the pipe. And no excuses, you should be able to get up to speed, but we couldn't because just a couple of things that just went awry on the race weekend. And then next thing, Kennedy crashes out of the lead or something like that, and I cruise home to a crappy second place. Like, I was miles off the win. And next thing, I'm leading the championship by 18 points or whatever it was, 17 points. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Like, this is mad. This is the worst weekend ever. So I go into Sunday's race, and it was like, the plan is to just finish on the podium, get out of here, and then we'll get back to like where we have been battling for the wins. And I was like, yeah, no problems. We made a massive change to the bike because we realized a couple of things with the motorbike that we overlooked. They put it in the window, and I went out there, and in the first lap I was like, oh, I can ride the pace. Like, I was like, great, brilliant. So I'll just follow Luke, and then I'll pass him on the last lap or something like that, and I'll win the race, and I'll extend my championship lead. No, that wasn't the plan. Anyway, down into the bottom of the mountain, tucked the front, and that was all she wrote. And just a rookie error, really, just silly, just unnecessary. But then the championship closes right up between the three of us, and then it was on for young and old, basically. And unfortunately, just didn't execute. I mean, Donington could have won both of them, should have won at least one of them, should have defended a little bit more in the Melbourne Loop, got nicked on the last lap, led the whole thing. And wrong tyre choice in a wet race at Alton Park, went from 1st to 7th, and that's it. Damage is done right there. So the crash, wrong tyre choice, and not executing at Donington, and that was it. It was the gap was too big, and went to Brands Action. Then we know what happened there. Obviously, I hit a white line. It was just going from bad to worse kind of thing, and then I hit a white line, tried to force the issue in the rain, and had probably the biggest crash of my career, and a lucky one at that. So try to wrap that up as quickly as possible for you, Dave. But it's just been one of them seasons. I've probably missed a load of things as well. Like,
it was almost the 180 degree from the previous season, wasn't it? Where you were after the little Donington slip off, consistency was the key to the championship season. And then you look at Jack's season, and apart from the odd slip off, he's had the same consistency that you had the year before. And it just shows how tight that Supersport championship is. And the same in BSB as well, with the couple of DNFs extra that Tommy had over Kyle. That consistency is key to any championship.
Yeah, you really can't afford to slip up anymore. Like, it's, there's been years where, you can see championships, you might have, a champion can crash 4 times, 5 times. But now, like, you almost scared to crash once. Like, if you crash once, you're like, how am I going to get them points back? So it's so important to maximize every opportunity that you get, even if you're in 4th, 5th, fight for that one extra point, if that's what it takes. Because as we've seen in Superbike and Supersport, it comes down to the wire. 1 point, half a point can separate you from becoming champion. So it is super important. It's just a mindset thing. So you've got to be on it.
Which is it's just how that's changed now, as you rightly say, over the years, how that's turned around. That really, in any championship challenge now, whether it's British Supersport or British Superbike, you can afford one DNF and that's your lot.
Yeah, and I think it's just sports evolving, and like we've seen it in the football in the last few years, haven't we? Like how many points that you actually get and how many points you need to have to become champion. It's almost like unprecedented. But then when you think about it, it's just normal now. Like that's just what it is. This is the new norm. You have to get a lot of points to win the championship. So one slip up is, like you say, it's your lot. And yeah, it just makes it a different ball game, because it changes the dynamic a little bit, because you have to take points sometimes when you can't, when you can't win. So it is a long game, and you look at MotoGP, it's becoming that way now as well, where if you crash too many times, you're never going to win the championship. You've got to be spot on. And I think a little bit as well, like obviously it's becoming highly, highly competitive. Supersport, essentially there's always like a few guys that can win a championship, and they're always at the front no matter what. You don't, like our bad race this year was third, like maybe a fourth. And the way we knew it was a bad race was we were 5 seconds off the lead, kind of thing. And where in maybe in British Superbike, it's a different level again, because you've got 10 guys that can win. So on your bad days, you could be 10th. So that changes, the point swing changes a little bit more, and you can maybe afford to have a little bit of a bad run or something like that, because, Tommy Bribel, Kyle Wright aren't guaranteed to be on the box every weekend. Like, it's very, very common for Tommy or Kyle to finish 9th. And you'd be like, oh, it's a disaster, but that's the reality of it.
Well, this is the conversation we had with Kyle back at Alton Park, isn't it? How important was that 1 point that he scored at Knock Hill when he was down with the sickness bug? It made such a massive difference, and you would never have known it at the time. But when you look back, you're like, oh, okay, that makes the difference. Every point counts.
Yep. Even if you don't think.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is to do is not to overthink it either.
Exactly.
Because that then makes you ride tight. You've got to try and put it to the back of your mind as far as you can and do whatever you can. And just ride as naturally and as loose as you possibly can. But you've got a new teammate for 2025, a man you know very well in the shape of Leon Haslam. What's the dynamic going to be like in the garage compared to the last season or two with Christian?
In terms of differences between the way the dynamic was with being Christian, I guess not a lot. Me and Christian got on quite well. We sort of built a relationship over the 2 years that we spent together in the garage, and I supported him, he supported me, and it was a very, very good vibe. With the sort of the dynamic that we've got now, me and Leon obviously known each other for a lot longer than say me and Christian did. So we have a bit of a relationship in that sense of a friendship that we've had for a while. We train together. Our circles are very intertwined with each other. We play golf with each other and all those sorts of things outside of racing. So it is kind of exciting for me to have a mate on the other side of the garage, and one that I know is super experienced. Like Leon, I said this at the show, is rode for some of the best teams in the world. So he brings a wealth of experience. And I think that can only make the team stronger. And, I'm going to benefit in the sense that I'll be on the other side of the garage watching and learning every step of the way. You'll have Ron in the garage, and you'll have, lots of people with a lot of experience around that know how to win championships, that know how to win lots of races. And I think that fuels everyone. Everyone needs to be at a high level, whether you're, mechanics, tire guys, whoever it is. It's important that we execute at the highest level always, because he's going to bring that sort of level of expectation to the party. I mean, the team already work on a very, very high level, technically, and, like as well with the staff. Wilf runs one of the most professional teams in the paddock. They always have. and they're always continuing to, push the boundaries of trying to improve and develop and see see how far we can go, never resting on their laurels. So it's very much sort of ingrained in the team, that sort of, mentality anyway. And I think with Leon like expects that as a minimum. So he'll fit straight in. And I think what will happen is, I think you'll see some amazing results from Leon. He doesn't have to run his own team. He doesn't have to concentrate on all those things. He can get his injuries fit and healthy, and he can just focus on being a motorcycle rider. And that will do potentially is just lift everyone in the sense of, like that sort of winning sort of atmosphere mentality, and hopefully shifts over onto my side, and then we both start winning races and go from strength to strength. That's how I see it sort of panning out.
I mean, you got to think he's maybe only got a couple of seasons left with the injuries that he's had and the fact that he's nearly 50. Not
Well,
quite.
oh, yeah. Sorry. I was so focused then. I was like 50. Yeah, I didn't even click. Sorry.
It's all right. I can wait.
Yeah. On a delay. You wanted me to laugh with you there, and it's just awkward.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm just
what's he
saying,
gonna
waiting
say?
for it.
Yeah,
It's,
and then
it's like, come on, that was funny.
Yeah. You should know better than that, Dave. You know what I mean? That's
I
not
know,
that's
mate.
nasty
I can't throw you
stuff.
under the bus straight away. You can't throw these curveballs in straight
Yeah.
away, can I? You're out of practice, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because he's, what is he, 42, I think, in November. So he's not getting any younger. There are only a finite amount of seasons left. And he's getting over, like you say, some big injuries. We'll have a 5-minute chat going out with him soon, depending on when this goes out. It might have already gone out, but he's so excited for the challenge. And I think it's going to pull you along as well, because it is a fresh pair of eyes. It is a new outlook in the garage. And for a fact, and I've seen it with my eyes so many times, the team have got to get used to this when he's coming back in the garage. Almost every time he comes
Literally
back in,
halfway
because
down pit lane.
yeah. Oh no, he's not happy, lads. But that's the standards. That's the standards he demands of himself and the team around him. And he's there to win. He's got that much experience, as you've said. So I think it's a massive plus point. Christian did a great job. He's moved on to pastures new now. So it's now time for Leon to take up the reins as the figurehead of the team. So yeah, exciting times for 2025. And across the board in BSB. It has the potential to be the best season ever, as every season does.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard that a few times in my career, but I think one thing I also sort of forgot to mention was next year we're going to add to the team technically. We've already got some really technical guys. We've got Ash on the electronics that just concentrates on engine health and engine braking, throttle mapping, all that sort of stuff. He's just solely focused on that. And then we've got Wilf, who is normally the crew chief for both bikes. Next year, we're adding a crew chief to the stable. So I'll have my own crew chief, essentially working on the Supersport side. I got excited and I pushed very hard for it, and I said, Wilf, this is what we need for the next step. We need it. You've got a lot on your plate. Doing who crew chiefs 2 bikes and win Superbike races and Supersport races. That's crazy. And
and with Hammy runs the team as well.
Yeah, it's and pays the bills. And so when I come in saying your bike shit, he built it and paid for it. So it's tough.
I mean, in the nicest possible way, but that's shit. We need to sort it out.
Yeah, I mean, he gets it. He's brilliant. He's probably the best crew chief I've ever worked with. By a long way. So to add Les to the whole project, it will be an amazing scenario. So with his expertise, he's also going to add sort of an insight onto the Superbike game as well. So that will help improve that side of things as well. Like it's I think all round, Leon coming in, Les coming in. Like, think about the experience that we've just added to an already really, really strong unit. It's going to be an amazing and exciting time.
Mate, that's great news for you. He was at Bonovo, wasn't he, recently? Was he with Garrett Gerloff? And
Yeah,
then
it's
prior
Gerloff,
to that, he was in BSB with Jason. I think he was Jason O'Halloran's crew chief at McCann's for a bit.
Right. Okay.
He was
I'm not
certainly
sure.
working with them for a bit, but he's been with Chris Walker. He's been all over the place. He's been around a long time and a huge amount of knowledge. So that's good. No, I'm pleased for you, mate. That gives you a bit of focus and one person, one bike, and that'll give you a real good springboard for next year. I'm sure for you for that.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited. I think it's naturally what I need for the next step. After winning the championship in 23, not backing it up in 2024, so, essentially same bike, little upgrades and stuff that made things a little bit different. But what's like, you think, right, what do I need to do different? What can we do as together? Like, what's naturally the next step to go to the next level? Because that's what we've got to do now. So, that was sort of natural progression. And I think, I have zero doubt actually that it's going to be the thing that we need to do. So it's looking forward to it, mate.
No, it should be good fun. That's great, and thanks for sharing that with us, mate. I appreciate that.
Would you mind
what
just want to
about
double check with the
you double check with Will before you
that's allowed to go out, but yeah.
Well, we can. The great thing is we can put this out anytime. That's the beauty
True.
of doing it this way. We can sit on this until it's announced, and then we can put it out after that. That's the cool thing about doing these off the cuff chats before you head back down under and get away from the snow and the cold that's just arrived.
Yeah, well, it's like a few inches of snow, isn't it, overnight? And it's amazing. I love it. I think it's unbelievable. But God, it's cold. And I land in Melbourne on Friday night, midnight Friday, and I'm at a wedding like lunchtime on Saturday, and it's 35 degrees. I think it is. That's what it's forecasted. So yeah, wish me luck. That's going to be brutal.
You're going to need it.
Hard.
My daughter landed in Melbourne 3 weeks ago and it was 10 degrees. So, and then I think it was 26 on the Sunday. Then it went back to 9. Then it went to 24. She's like, Dad, this place is ridiculous for weather.
It's not normal.
Can it just be one thing or the other?
Yeah. Yeah, we thought it was bad here. You know what I mean? Like, you waiting that, like, if you actually look at the spectrum, like, it's like you say, 10 degrees, like single digits up to 35 degrees in the matter of days. Like, that's not normal.
The Crowded House song, 4 seasons in a day.
Yeah. Global warming.
It's nuts.
Something's not
It's
right.
always been like that down there.
Yeah.
The gateway to hypothermia, as Barry Sheen called Phillip Island.
Yeah.
Mate, so what do you make of racing generally this season? Let's have a 10 or 15 minute chat about that. The BSB World Superbike MotoGP that's going on in the background as we speak. Bagnaia fastest from Alex Marquez, Pedro Acosta, Maverick, and Fabio are your top 5 at the moment. Marc Marquez looking like he's stepped out of a Heinz ketchup bottle. I'm sure other ketchups are available, but I'll never use them.
Absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
There's red and there's amazing. Like red.
Yeah, that's like in your face. Like, I am now factory. There's like, I bleed red. I am red. My skin's red. Like, I love red and Tardozzi.
Man, yeah. It's incredible when he turned up. And then Pecco's got, just to be the complete opposite, Pecco's gone out in white.
Has he? Yeah, of course he has. It started already, hasn't it? It's brilliant. Yeah,
maybe that's just the hanky that he used on Sunday to go like, that's it. Yeah. Surrender.
No, he's
anyway,
your guy.
Can't talk about
You're
that.
saying
I'm not talking about that. No,
yeah,
shush now.
That's good.
Move on.
He's your guy.
2024 is closed now. This is the start of 25. Shush.
Yeah. Well, to be fair to 2020, what are we? 2024. It was a hell of a season of racing, that's for sure. I mean, BSB. We touched on it a little bit. It's it's just that last race was a joke. Like, Stuart Higgs must be licking his chops. Like, he must be sitting up there going, like, we did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no showdown, none of this old showdown business to create the farce. It was like championship points. Yeah, the championship points are a little bit, how you're going, but it's a traditional championship. To come down to the wire the last 2 seasons is just unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, we thought last year was good, didn't we? But this year was
Yeah.
another level again. Yeah, phenomenal racing, and to be honest with you, I'm chuffed for Kyle. I think you know, whether he deserves it or not, that's not even in the question. That's not even the thing. It's like he's a good guy. You know what I mean? And he deserves the triumph. And you know, I tip my cap to Tommy Bridewell, you know, making the move. We spoke to him at Knockhill, didn't we, earlier in the year? And for him to make that bold jump to Honda, and turn the whole ship around, and really, you know, challenge for that title. Yeah, look, he didn't win as many races as the other guys, but he's a true professional. He knows how to get the job done, and he was there at the end. And you know what? Like, he'd give it to it. He'd give it to him, didn't he? He'd give it to Kyle in that race. And realistically, I thought Kyle would be stronger, you know, at Brent prior to the weekend. I thought Kyle would be stronger, but both of them, huge respect. And what I will add as well, you know, in that is Kyle. He grew into something that I haven't seen before. Whether it was his mentality, whatever it was, you know, Kyle's very much been one of them guys who, on his day, is probably one of the fastest riders that Britain's ever sort of produced. And then, you know, then other days you think, well, where's he gone? Like, and I think that was a number of factors. It's well documented on Eurosport. Whittam always goes on it, and Whittam's quite close to Kyle. He always goes on about, you know, he needs to have the confidence in the front end for him to do the job. He's not one of them guys like that I sort of deem like Bridewell as one of those guys where things aren't quite right, but he can muscle it and make it fit kind of thing. Where Kyle, and I think that changed this year with Kyle. He maybe once in the season he sort of went off the ball around, but then the very next round he's straight back into it. And as we've seen, that's how you win the championship. You can't go missing for a couple of rounds and expect to win the championship. It just doesn't happen anymore. And I think ultimately that's why, you know, that's why he won.
And that's it. And it comes down to that consistency again. We've said it on the we've said it on the show a few times, but 3 DNFs to 1. There's the difference. And to lose out by a single point is, and you know, I think only one of those was of Tommy's own doing. One was a gear shift. One was when it got bent with Max Cook, and then his own doing at Alton Park. And you just think, what a season! What else can they do now in BSB apart from throw another 5 riders into the mix? And it sounds like, I don't know what, and again, I don't know if any inside information in this whatsoever, but just my own reasoning suggests that I suspect there'll be a different spec of tyre for next year. It'll still be the 0, but potentially with softer shoulders, I would suspect, just to help the edge grip for the BMs and the Ducatis. Would that be a fair assumption, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I heard murmurs. I think Glenn was whispering something on the, well, not whispering, he was actually saying it to the whole crowd. So I wouldn't say it's a secret, but you know, there sounds like some sort of tire upgrade that I wasn't aware of. And God, I hope it gets filtered into Supersport, because like we got the same problem on Panigale. You know what I mean? Like, the bike doesn't have edge grip, and when you try to race 600s and, you know, sort of like Moto2 type style motorcycles, you know, they've got different chassis and they're built for corner speed and things like that. And I can't carry that corner speed. And, you know, essentially we get our bike restricted down to a level that's, you know, fair for everyone, because it's the bigger CC bike, like the Triumph, like the Suzuki, like the other bigger CC engines. And, you know, so we lose the speed, but, you know, there's no substitute for grip and you know, corner speed, stuff like that. So we don't get anything in that department. So yeah, we've got strengths, as the Ducati's got strengths, and I think, you know, it would make a massive difference. Back to the point of the tire situation, it would make a big difference if we could pick up a little bit of grip. I mean, it's the same for everyone. Everyone's going to to get the grip, but I think it would probably help it a little bit, make it maybe a little bit more even in that sense of, you know, going around corners and making the race probably a little bit better, I would say, because if I can, you get like that little yo-yo, don't you? When with different bikes, and if it can be a little bit more closer, shoulder to shoulder, a little bit more even through the corners, then I think it would even add to the spectacle of it, both
Oh yeah,
Superbike and Supersport.
yeah, I agree. It's not going to detract anything, is it? It's going to throw more manufacturers and more riders into the mix. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And I could do another whole podcast on, you know, like Supersport regulations and Superbike regulations and you know, all the different
Balancing rules and all
manufacturers
that
and
kind of thing.
balancing and stuff like that. And it's mega. Like if you're into that, you know, you read stuff on the internet naturally, and you look at it and you think, oh, like people are stupid. Sorry, like some of the people who are watching this now, like I'm talking to you, like you haven't got a clue what's going on, and the people that are running the show they have a clue, and they're doing a brilliant job, and they're doing a damn sight better job than what World Championship are doing. Let me tell you.
Oh, I agree. I agree completely. And it's difficult when you see what goes on the forums and things like that. It's difficult. Not, I know almost every rider sees it. I know Stuart sees it. I know team owners see it and things like that. That sometimes you look at it, you just go, oh, whoever it is, why have you put that? Why have you done this? Why have you said that? You literally showing your lack of understanding. Rather than asking a question, statements of fact come out that aren't. Oh, well, it's got to
Yeah,
be this.
yeah,
It doesn't, because there are a million variations on what you've
yeah,
just said.
yeah.
And unless you're in the team and you're part and parcel of what's going on, or you're part of the organizers and the team, the series owners, you really don't know. And it's nice
Yeah.
to speculate and things like
It's the
that.
same with
But
us, Dave, isn't it? We're in the paddock, and
yeah, yeah.
there's going to be a level of not understanding for us. You know, there's going to be things that naturally, as humans, we're going to disagree on and go, well, that's not fair. And you know, also there's biased viewpoints. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to sit here and go, it's not fair. You know, that you make my bike slower, you take the revs off my bike, and you penalize us through the year, and then you know, no one gives me more grip. No one this, that, the other. You know, and it's again, it's perspective on your situation or your views, whether it's a team that you follow or rider that you follow. There's going to be difference in opinions, but you know that's just, it's been receptive or susceptible to differences of opinions, and accepting that, you know, that's how the world goes round, and maybe also being willing to understand the other side of the envelope and go, oh, do you know what? That makes sense, to be fair. And if I was in that camp, I would probably say the same thing, you know, and it's been like that. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's why, you know, let's ask more questions rather than slating and belittling people and being nasty to people online, you know, because you know that's not gonna help anything. So I think people, if they could just take a breath a little bit, and I mean, we could get into that side of things with the social media, like of, you know, rider bashing and all that sort of stuff, like, you know, the hatred for certain riders in Superbike, and
The
I
tribal
want him to, the
mentality's crept in,
tribal
hasn't it?
mentality. It's gone bonkers, and whether like why that's happened, I mean, it could be because of some of the actions on track that's created divides. It could be the state of affairs in the world right now. Um, it could be anything. It could be the mental health of the viewers. It could be, you know, and that sort of goes under the bracket of the state of affairs, like how, you know, financial situation in the world, etc., etc. You know, it's
Everybody's fighting battles we don't know about.
exactly that, and yeah, and it's all relative to them. So,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely it is. And it is a weird thing, because I'm old. I'm not used to this side, this the whole Rossi Marquez thing. That was the catalyst for it in a
it
lot of
was, yeah.
ways, because then it became acceptable to become tribal with it. I just love motorcycle racing. You're all faster than me. You're all better than me. So I don't. there are things that I see and you think, well, I wonder why that happened or that could have done better. But you can't just sit there and go, he fell off. What a prick. Well, yeah, but do you know how hard he's trying? Do you know what happened with the bike? Do you know there was something there? Was he over trying? Was it mechanical? What was it? Was he thinking about what he was having for tea? You have no idea what's going on. And the one thing that is really important is you guys see it. This is what I had this. Who did we have on the other day? Julian Ryder comes out tomorrow as we record this, and as a commentator, I couldn't do that job for love nor money, purely because I haven't got thick enough skin.
Yeah, I thought
that's the other most divisive subject in the world is motorcycle racing commentary, because everybody's got their favorites, but time moves on. And
absolutely.
Other people need their chance and they bring us the sport that we love. And it's their job, it's their career. And I always have the thought, well, what if somebody turned up at your work and told you were shit? Yeah. But you're doing your very best. You're bringing you're bringing work to your boss or whatever. And you think you're good at it, and you know you're good at it, and you give it 100%. But yeah, imagine, mate, you're shit. Why am I? I just think you are. I don't like you. Well, thanks very much. That's very kind. Yeah, have a nice day.
Yeah, I guess it maybe stems from being pictured as a sort of an element of privilege in life, that you're able to do, X, Y, and Z, whatever it is in the world, whether you're a football manager, an MP, or whatever, someone of some sort of stature, if that's the right way to describe it. But as a writer, I've always been sort of under the illusion that, if that ever happened to me, people spoke bad about me or whatever and bullied me online or whatever, I would laugh at it, and for the most part, like, sometimes, as it's crept in, because more and more that I've been sort of battling for championships, no one talks about the guy that's in text. Do you know what I mean? No one cares. No, they just want to, say the guy that's on the front row's got a shit hat on, he looks like a dickhead. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that online, but it's like that's the reality.
My show, do as you like.
Internet, freedom of speech, and all that. Yes,
power to the people. Let's start a movement right here and now, Benji.
Yeah. Sponsored by X. Like, that's what it is.
We are looking for sponsorship if anybody out there fancies helping us out.
And you should, by the way. The numbers look good.
Thanks,
good.
Mate.
You showed me the numbers, actually, and it's pretty mind-boggling, to be honest. It's amazing how many people are viewing and how long they're viewing for. So, yeah, I mean,
mate. We're going all right. Our little show, isn't it? We're getting back to the point. Yeah.
Yeah, getting back to the point. Finishing on that note, so we can we don't need therapy at the end of this. A lot of page turning in this podcast. Let's turn that page. Let's not talk about that anymore. I mean, I don't care. I'm checking out. I'm going to Australia.
It doesn't matter, does it?
I'm out of here. Just bully me all you want online. I don't care.
I've missed having you on the show, mate.
No, I know. I miss coming on the show. I still watch it. Flat out. So
thanks,
mate. But yeah.
Well, when you come back, let's get a couple more of these done. I know the viewers, everybody like the live shows, so let's just keep doing some of those.
So you replaced me on the live shows, didn't you?
Only for 3. 4.
Oh, you're gonna,
because they were sponsored by Fan Merch, so it was the great Kyle.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, no, we had some sponsorship on the back of it.
We let the guy. It's like, when you bring, when your mum says, "Can you take your little brother with you? Take your little brother to the football." Do I have to?
Yeah, no, Kyle was brilliant. He was really nervous in the first couple of shows.
I'm only joking.
I know, mate.
We're bullying now.
We're bullying now, online bullying. I spoke to Kyle only yesterday, actually. He's on good form. But he gets it. There's other things going on in the background for next season, maybe for me, that might help raise my profile. At the moment, I will speak to you about that off air because it's not right to talk about it on the show at the minute. It might come to nothing. It usually does.
You said it online.
Hopefully,
said it online, Dave.
Hopefully, this time it will come to something. We're manifesting a couple of things. Yeah,
positive
exactly
energy.
Exactly that. It rests in a couple of decisions. way above my pay grade. So hopefully in the new year we'll know a little bit more. But I'll tell you about it offline. Sorry to the viewers and the listeners, but it's unfortunately that's where it's at the moment. But no, it's been I think it's been a decent season. Toprak winning World Superbike, Jorge Martin winning MotoGP, the right riders winning the championship. It's the same as you said about Tommy and Kyle, and I've said it on record before. If Tommy had won it, brilliant. Back-to-back champion on the unfancied Honda that nobody really gave him a chance on. But Kyle coming of age, taking his first championship and showing us a talent that pretty much everybody known he's had apart from him.
And that's it, literally that. Like I mean, I put him under the same sort of category as Brad Ray. You know, Brad previously cracked it, after many years of trying and, like us all riders, losing the plot, coming back, losing the plot, coming back. It's a constant battle mentally, that you're fighting with yourself. Like having the belief in there that you can execute every single time, high pressure environment, just you and machine. And at the end of the day, it's a team sport, but ultimately they send the warrior off to go do battle. And if the warrior loses, then, everyone's like, oh, why'd you do that? You know what I mean? Like, why'd you?
Cheers. Yeah, thanks for that.
Thanks. We
All that effort we
the
put
same.
in.
Yeah, we work the same amount for second, first, 10th, 15th, still the same amount of work, but you bloody bottled it. So, that's the tough thing about, that's the special and tough and, thing about motorcycle racing, that it is a team sport, but ultimately you're the captain of the ship. You have to drive it and you have to go and do the job. So it is cool.
Look at you. You turn up in the box when you want. You look at a few squiggly lines. You ride the bike round in circles. You go back to your motorhome and you
piece of piss.
Is it exactly? You have your protein drinks and you have your electrolytes.
That's made for you.
Dinner's
made for you. Lunch made for you.
Kirsty's made for you. She has your towel ready. She has your little
massage down
ready.
to physio. Go down to physio. You know what I mean? Like, nice.
On the surface, tough life. Mentally, wouldn't swap it. Would not swap it for the world. And that's the thing that's becoming more and more prevalent. And we'll do a show on this in the new year, to try and help viewers and listeners understand just what it takes to be a professional motorcycle racer.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to touch on this a little bit when we were talking about the sort of mental health side of things. It's not just like, the things that we think, like the online bullying and all this sort of stuff. It's our own sort of things that we deal with as riders. It's a lonely thing being a motorcycle rider. It's a strange one because everyone on that grid, wants to beat each other. So you can't just ring your mate that's in the garage next door and go, "Oh, business is tough at the moment." You know what I mean? It's, Alton was tough, wasn't it? We had tough, you know what I mean? No, I'm not telling you nothing, mate. No, we had a good time, you know. And it's like, there's no, although we have friendships and stuff, there's no friends at the end of the day. And, the self sort of sabotage, pressure, whatever you want to call it, killing yourself in the gym because, in between races because you think, well, that's going to help me. Probably the eating disorders that are out there, all these little things that probably goes hand in hand with many, many athletes in many, many different disciplines around the world, sports, whatever, all those sort of things. I think there's a lot to be said for that. And as a person that likes to be true to myself, wear my heart on my sleeve, say it out is, show the utmost respect to people. It's how I've been brought up. The minute I feel like somebody maybe sort of, has an opinion or a comment on a certain subject that I might take personal, like, I can't help but change my attitude. You know what I mean? And that is the volatile nature of sport. It's cutthroat, and like, you don't know who to trust, who not to trust. Like, do I tell them that? Do I say this? They might ruin that for me. Da, 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 da. It's not really that nice of an environment. And I think that's unfortunately the game we chose to partake in. So, I'm not complaining. It's just dealing with those things, and there's ways to deal with it. Is more or less what I'm trying to say, David. Is there is ways to deal with it. And yeah, I think it's definitely becoming more of a thing now, isn't it? In sport in general.
And there's more support networks available. There's more understanding of what you go through. There's concussion protocols that we have in now. There's injury rehab, but the mental health side of things, people are far more, riders are more aware of what they do. Every rider is different. You take the character of you, of Kyle, of Glenn, of Tommy, 4 completely different people, 4 great fellas, but just completely different characters. But I kind of like what Glenn's doing. If somebody talks him down, he calls them out. And I know it's maybe sometimes there's a bit of a face palm moment from the team bosses or things like that. Like, oh no, please don't. But it's his own social media. It's his own response. And
I like it.
I think the more that happens, the more, if somebody's, oh, he's done this shit, why have I? And they go, oh, because it's social media and you don't expect a response from the riders because it's a name in a comment box. But all of a sudden, the rider sees it and goes, so just explain what you mean, and then I'll tell you exactly what went on. Oh, sorry, Glenn, I really think you're great. I'm sorry that my comment got misconstrued. So don't put it out there in the first place.
Every time. Because it's the same thing every time, isn't it?
Yeah. I spent more time over the last 10 years not posting things because I don't know enough. I'm not perfect, don't get me wrong. But you look at things and you go, I wonder if I could say no because I know I'm going to be wrong. I don't know enough about the situation. And the things that you do know about the situation, you also can't talk about.
Yeah. So you just, next thing, radio silence.
So there you go. Next week's podcast is this person, and next week's podcast is this one. Shows are great for opinion, but putting them out on social media, it's great. I can share an opinion with you. You can tell me if I'm right. You can tell me if I'm wrong, and I have no issue in being.
But it's
wrong.
Also context. We're sitting here and we're having a discussion. We're having a respectful discussion. There's been times where we don't agree with each other. And that's all right. It's fine to have a different opinion. Like, absolutely, it's all cool. Problem. But when you
never know, you might actually learn from it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've been many, many times where I've gone, oh, what I thought was gospel, the way they've just explained the opposing opinion, I'm like, oh shit. And that's about what we were saying earlier about being open to potentially learning about something, and changing your view on something. And it goes hand in hand with the tribalism. Is that the word?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's your do or die. You've got his name tattooed on your sleeve, but like, he's a great athlete too. Can you not respect him? Nah, dickhead. Well, why? Because he beat him. Okay, but he's a dad. He's an uncle. He's a da-da-da. He's a son.
Somebody's
he's a
son,
whatever.
Somebody's brother.
He's just like you, but he just beat your guy. It's okay. Like, it's fine.
It's sport. It's
sport.
It's just what it is. I said this to Jules a couple of weeks ago on the show that's due out tomorrow. And it's like, I really feel sorry for the fans that couldn't understand how good Casey was, or how good Nicky was in 06, and how good Jorge was, and just appreciate motorcycle racing. Yeah, they beat Valentino. Everybody gets beat at some point in their career.
And must have been tough.
But
think about how tough that was, that era, to like be that exceptional. They win world titles, but just aliens. Like, nah, he's not that good.
There's only one alien left. Yeah, I mean, your Gibbernows and your Kenny Roberts Juniors maybe weren't of the same the same heightened plane as Lorenzo and Pedrosa, Marquez, Rossi. But you look now at what Mark's done this year on what was essentially, at the end of the season, a 22-month-old bike. And he's ridden phenomenally. And, Pecco's not going to have it all the way. Mark's not going to have it all his own way. but he's sure as hell going to give it his best shot, and you know he's going to be up there. Jorge Martin, I've got it on in the background now. It's on the lunch break, and they're showing him through turn 5.
Yeah, shoulder down, no doubt.
From the elbow to the shoulder is down, and he's showboating to the camera. You'll see it. They'll put it on social media. He literally comes out of turn 5, looks at the camera, and then just gasses it up on the back wheel. He's like proper showboating, and it looks
Yeah.
brilliant. You know,
You
it's
can tell
like,
he's won the world title, can't you?
look at me, I'm untouchable.
Yeah. Mega. What
But
an
mate,
awesome thing.
what we're gonna do, we'll wrap this up because I have to head off and see Jen's mum and dad while they have a visitor to the house. But we will catch up in the new year. Have an amazing time back in Oz. Enjoy the wedding. Say hi to your dad for us. Pass on the best regards. We saw him at Brands, but very fleetingly. A lot of time for that man. Love to Kirsty, and
Thanks,
have a
Dave.
good Christmas and New Year, mate.
Appreciate it. And send my love to Jen as well. I know she'll be on the other end of this, no doubt, in a bit and watching it. So, yeah, all the best, mate. And we'll definitely catch up in the new year and waffle some more.
I think it's great. I enjoy it,
Nice.
mate, every time. You stay on the line while I hit stop, and then we'll chat afterwards. But ladies and gentlemen, massive thank you. It's Ben Currie.